We are at Kansas for the first race of the playoffs, and I'm joined up in the booth by Mayhem, who had just ran a race not too shortly ago. What's your predictions for today so far?
Well, I don't. Dylan won the first race here, but something tells me that I think Riley hasn't won in a long time. I think we could see that 48 car back in victory lane. He was really strong in the playoffs. I think he would be my pick, the 48.
Fair enough. I think I'm still going to keep trying to stand strong with Heredia, although he just shortly missed on that regular season title due to his performance at Charlotte Roval. I still think he definitely has plenty of potential to go and just win that championship and snatch it from Joker.
I think so too. I mean, they're the 1 and 2 every week, right? But I think that Kansas is a track where everyone's going to be pretty fast, right? It comes down to putting yourself in a position late in the race, more so than say a road course where it's a lot more driver talent.
Definitely. Now, we also have a couple more people we kind of need to look out for. There was Resistance, who managed to barely sneak out a win when he was at Charlotte regular. He shocked a lot of us up here.
Sorry, who are we talking about?
Resistance.
Oh yeah, that was definitely. Resistance has come on strong to end the year. He ran well at a couple tracks late. He was always kind of up there, just never really found his way into victory lane, and just to really shake up the playoffs in that way to get himself in there. A really cool situation for him and for Gibbs, who unfortunately haven't quite had the attendance that they would hope for. To have 2 Gibbs cars in the playoffs, got to be pretty cool for their owner.
Oh, I'm sure Arbels is absolutely pleased to have at least 1 car in the playoffs, but I'm sure he's absolutely thrilled to have 2 between Trout and Resistance. Now, you, as a team owner yourself, actually, of Stewart Haas, how do you think about all 3 or 4 of your cars being in the playoffs?
Well, we only have 3 this year. We would have had 4 if not for some personal issues in the 4 car. But I got to tell you, I think the 14 and the 41 are going to surprise you. They're both basically on the cut line here when we come into this race, but Nobes especially has been really, really fast. We saw him win 2 stages at Dover and just kind of get put into a bad spot. He could have won that race. I think he's someone to definitely watch out for, but the 41 car drunk, I wouldn't sleep on him either. I think speedways are definitely where he's been fastest all year, and I think we'll see him run up front again today.
I'm sure we definitely will. And another, not really too much of a surprise, but it's nice to see him up there. Dylan in the 6. Do you think he's just kind of snuck up? He's in 3rd place right now. I feel like I haven't really seen him around that much.
No, Dylan was someone who was really good earlier in the season. Now, he won this race when we went here earlier in the season, so, you're definitely going to have to keep an eye on him, but I think that's a good point. We haven't seen him up front in the last few races as much as we have in the first few, but that being said, he won Daytona, and speaking of Daytona, the 14 had the lead down the backstretch and just got kind of caught in the middle, and he could have won that race too, but Dylan was able to take advantage and win that race. So I think that's a huge momentum for him because, like we said, we hadn't seen him too much up front. It's kind of surprising to think of him as that 3rd driver in the playoff. So but you're going to definitely have to keep an eye on him at a track like this.
Oh, definitely. He and a couple of others, such as Heredia and UB himself, definitely a lot of people to watch and see who can secure that early playoff spot in the next round.
Yeah, I think everyone in the playoffs can win races here, right? There's no one you really kind of look at and you're like, I'm not sure, this might be tough for this guy. There's no one that you really would count out in round one, right? I think if any one of these drivers won this race today, you would not be surprised. And I think that the playoff standings will look significantly different coming out of this race than they do coming into this race.
I'm sure. A lot of these drivers, they're all definitely very capable of easily taking a win at any of the next 3 tracks that we have going on, not only tonight, but next Monday and Thursday as well, between Iowa and the Glen.
Yeah, those are another, 2 tracks. I think Iowa and the Glen will be kind of separator races. I think Kansas is a big opportunity for some of these guys that maybe don't have as much success on road courses. Not to call anybody out, but the 14, the 18 haven't been super strong at road courses this year. So those first 2 races are going to really, be critical for them to build a little bit of a lead to have going into that final race. And, if you don't have a great race at Kansas, you really do have to kind of focus on those next 2 races and getting yourself kind of back into the green, you could say, to avoid elimination.
So definitely between the 18 and 14, they need to either win today or tomorrow, because after the Glen, they're pretty much going to be on the chopping block if they're still down towards that bottom 3 that'll be eliminated. But once the top 8 skate by, the next 3 races seem to be, relatively easy between Bristol, Talladega, and Homestead, not in that order. All those tracks seem to be, pretty level in the playing field. And not really a whole lot more talent you'd need to use, such as tracks such as like the Glen or even Iowa.
Yeah, so, Talladega is the big one, right? I think, it wouldn't surprise me to see someone kind of sneak through this first round. I think Talladega is going to be one of the races that a lot of guys are looking at, coming out of this round. So, Homestead's always a fun track. I think that, there are a ton of guys that are close to the cutoff line. The 14 are both really fast. Even the 18 really fast at Homestead historically in this series. So, for them, it's going to be making it through this round, though. You can look forward to Homestead and you can say, oh, I'm good at Homestead, I'm good at Talladega, all you want, right? But if you don't make it out of this first round, none of that matters.
Definitely. You need, if you are one of those few people that struggle, such as tracks at like the Glen or Iowa, and you're looking towards that next round, you definitely need to try and get a win as soon as you possibly can and make sure your spot's secure.
Well, I think we're just waiting on a driver or 2 to get in here. From what I can see, Brody is not currently in the lobby, and neither is Tiger. And that's something interesting to talk about. I think they're the only 2 guys in the playoffs that aren't currently here. And that, to fall back down then would definitely, to fall an entire...
It does look like we have the go-ahead to join. I'm just checking to confirm, though.
I think we are. I'm loading in, I think.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
They must be under caution.
Yeah. I'm sure they are. It'll definitely be interesting to see who took the pole here today.
Oh, let me pull up.
And it looks like our pole sitter is Drunkfest, your driver, who you were talking about, very capable at tracks such as Kansas. So, congrats to Drunkfest there. Let's try and get into the broadcast here shortly.
Well, you got the 18's currently the leader right now. So this is, like we said, a couple of guys. So to inform all the viewers of what exactly the playoff picture is coming into this race, Resistance and Drunkfest. Well, Resistance was 3 points out, Drunkfest was 5 points out, and Trout was 5 points out. So assuming that Drunkfest has led a lap and won the pole, he's now a single point. He's 2 points out. on Nobes, and then currently running better than him too.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to watch and see just how this, how the playoffs change after today's race, especially if we have a winner such as Drunk Fest or even Trout or Resistance that can snag that early win. That'll push, you know, people such as, once I can find them, that'll push Nobes down under the cut line if someone such as Resistance, Drunk, or Trout wins.
That's definitely true. I mean, so Tiger will for sure be in the bottom 3 after this race since he's not here.
Yeah.
In terms of the running order, you see the 22's in the lead, Drunk trying to make a move on the 18. And it doesn't look like that's going to work out for him. So hard to get trained out here.
Now Kansas, very easily just one of those tracks where you need to constantly run the high line, otherwise you're not going to get much done. These couple of drivers such as...
Oh, the 22's in the wall, he's really slow.
Geesh.
So that's going to give Trout the lead again.
That's one thing you need to be careful of running at tracks like Kansas, where you run pretty much paper thin against the wall. You need to try not to catch it, otherwise you're pretty much done for that stage. But yes, Kansas, definitely one of those tracks you always want to be running the high line. But you cannot.
And I got the 21's in the wall. He's going to drop way back.
It's a painful day for Penske right now, but it looks like Tiger's teammate Brody in the 42 is trying to challenge Trout for the lead. He does have the high line just over him, and it does look like he's just side by side with him. But Trout has Resistance pushing him behind. They're actually trying to pass him now, it looks like.
Oh, looks like Drunk got hung on that 18's bumper. You see him. Oh, Brody's in the wall. They're 4 wide.
Oh, God. Poor Brody.
Oh,
It looks like we're going to have 2 JGR cars, 1 and 2. Resistance taking the lead with Trout fending off a couple of the Ford drivers between Drunk and Dillon.
Looks like Resistance led that lap, which is going to be, again, 2 bonus points for him. So
yes,
now all 3 cars below the cut line have led a lap in this race.
Now, the top 3 drivers as of current, they're all, you know, down in that bottom 3 of the playoffs. So, again, one of these 3 getting that win today, or even, you know, securing plenty of points to try and help at least push them into the round of 8.
Drunk made a little contact with that 18 car. Brody kind of cut him a break there and let him get back to the outside. He could have forced that 3 wide if he wanted to.
I think forcing someone 3 wide ain't exactly something you want to be doing at tracks like this.
Well, yeah, it's tough. I mean, oh, you got the 9 car on the wall now. When you put someone 3 wide and you're on the outside, you almost put yourself in the worst situation, because all it takes is that guy to just make one little mistake and they're into you and you're the one in the wall, right? So then you're going to lose all the positions. So sometimes it's just better to kind of ride it out a little bit.
It's better to just back off, cut them slack, and then hope, you know, later in the race they try and cut you some slack too if you happen to be on the receiving end of that same exact situation.
I think that's true. So we have about, all these guys are going to start pitting in about 2 or 3 laps. It's quite a long stage here. We're going to have to see. So everyone's got about 4 laps of fuel, 3 laps of fuel from now. And we got 23 to go on this stage. So I think it's just a straight up 1 stop.
Yeah, that's...
Maybe a 2 stop. We'll have to see what the...
We'll have to wait and see what the fuel counter is. It doesn't look like anyone's coming in just yet. So, maybe they're trying to stretch it out a little bit, and depending on the fuel situation, they could just be trying, okay, let's take 1 stop as late as possible, and then we can just relax all the way to the end and not
Oh,
push
the
too
18 is
hard.
going to pit. So the leader's pitting. I don't think I really saw anyone else signal. You can put the 41 in the bad spot. He might be pitting though.
Does
No,
look
he's going
like
to stay out.
the 18 is pitting along with his teammate Resistance as well. So that's good that the JGR cars are trying to stick together.
Yeah,
And we
good
have a
cars
couple
pit.
more cars pitting as
21
well.
and
21 and
38.
38. Yep. So right now that'll give the lead over to, I believe, Brody, who
Well, looks like another group of about
led that
4 or
lap.
5 cars here. These leaders are all pitting, except possibly Nobes.
Nobes definitely staying out and just
Oh
getting.
no!
Ooh. Oh, shoot.
Oh, into the 48. That should be a caution.
Nobes, yeah. Nobes spinning around there has some pretty
Oh,
big
man.
implications, and that sucks for drivers. Actually, no, that's good for drivers already on the pit road. They can just get their pit stops done, and that's pretty much probably the worst time for a caution for the two JGR cars, being that they just pit and I believe are a lap down.
The game didn't throw it, so I don't know if they're going to run the manual or if they're going to... It should be a manual. I mean, 2 cars got absolutely crushed by it. I don't know, though.
Sure. I mean, it does look like a few of the cars are coming to a slow, and Nobes has finally made it into the pits, but...
From what I saw, it looked like the 22 was getting on really aggressively. And he just kind of got underneath the 41, who was just trying to turn down onto pit road. And then the 41 just bounced up, and the 14 just had nowhere to go. I think the 41 was just spinning, and he just hit the 14, and then the 48's trying to avoid it. He's got nowhere to go.
Do we have an update on the leader?
Looks like the 18's definitely in the lead. They certainly have not decided to run a manual.
Yeah, it does look like, despite that taking out, 2 or 3 drivers, they're not going to run a caution. So
That's tough for those guys. I mean, that really does suck.
it definitely does.
2 guys in the top, well, 3 guys really, the 41, the 14, or 3 guys in the top, 6 that are now out. Basically, Nobes is going to be a lap down because of that.
And I think he's one of those drivers just hanging on to that cut line. Yeah, only being 3 points ahead of Resistance, who's just behind his teammate. So it's going to be a tough day for Nobes to try and recover from that incident. So,
well, yeah, he's already below the cut line now. He's looking at a spot where he's not going to get any points. I mean, look at this. The 20 car is in second place, right? So that's 9 points in the stage. The 18's also below. He's leading the stage. That's 10 points.
definitely.
Right? So that's a huge deficit to really have to make up.
Yeah, I mean, between the 18 and the 20 getting both 10 and 9 points respectively just off the stage if they win and finish second, that's going to put Nobes, I believe,
Could have
5
put him
or
about
7
9 points down, 9, 10.
Something close to that range down into the cutoff line.
Yeah, I mean, and Drunk too, right? Drunk's the other driver who's out at the moment, and he is running, I believe, 5th. Right, so Nobes is in a lot of trouble here. Riley's in trouble. I mean, this is going to be a pretty big swing for him, too. This is going to put him right on that line. Captain Jack, I don't know if Captain Jack's even racing. Oh, he is. He's also kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit. He doesn't look like he's going to get too many points.
It does look like just in this first race alone, it's going to really just shake up the playoffs. If this race goes, pretty decent for the 2 JGR cars out today, I mean, they're looking to be, if not in that round of 8, due to a win, at least, somewhat secure above the cutoff line. And that's going to push drivers like Tiger and even Nobes, who is still struggling trying to come back from that incident, down below the cut line and force them to try a lot harder than they normally would at tracks like Iowa and the Glen.
Yeah, right now, if you're Nobes or even if you're Riley, right, your best friend is Brody in that 42 is behind the 20, right? And I don't think there's any way they run down this 18 car. But even if those two guys can pass the 20, right, that's 2 points less. And all of that's going to add up. So, that they're probably kind of hoping that all works out for them.
It definitely will add up. I mean, if any of these, between the 42 and the 22, if either of them two can unseat the 20 from behind the 18, then that'll be huge for drivers like UB and UB.
Well, the 20 is actually now right on the 18. He's run him down in the last 2 or 3 laps. So, and I mean, yeah. I get that they're teammates, but at the same time, looks like the 18 just let him go. I
mean, that's kind of what you do to teammates.
22 past him too. I think there might be some saving going on. I'm looking at some of these guys. So. There's a huge drop off from those Gibbs guys. If you kind of look at those first 4, Brody's really fallen off.
Yeah, Brody had dipped low and just lost a lot of time on the 22.
Well, it's easier to save on the bottom. If you're saving fuel, you want to run the bottom because the banking kind of helps you keep speed, and it also makes the track shorter, right? So the 42 is for sure saving.
It seems like the 20 is starting to save as well. It looks like they're going to try and just let the 22 use up what little he does have, or what he does have.
This is going to get interesting here, because if these guys cycle around, right, these guys that are saving a little further back that started earlier might have the advantage here on them. So, we really could see this order get switched up.
I definitely should. We can see someone like Brody, or I do not know who the 5th place driver is.
It's I think it's, Brody's in 5th, the 6th car, although Dillon is now in 4th.
Yeah, we could definitely see a driver like Dillon just sneak out a stage win here. Or at least, get ahead.
It's gonna get interesting. This is not a straightforward stage.
It's really... Hopefully it doesn't go too much further downhill for the JGR cars. It looks like they're, hard saving like Brody is right now. And actually, Dillon just got past the 20, and it looks like he's going to easily pass the 6 on the upcoming 3 and 4 as well.
Dillon's really the only car in the top 8 or 9 that's not saving right now. I don't know if maybe he saved it earlier. We didn't really see him up with the main pack. And he stayed out an extra lap, too, actually. Now that I think about it, he actually stayed out.
So
we were talking about the 14. So he's, I think, saved the lap that all of these guys are now trying to save. So this has kind of put him in the driver's seat.
Dillon definitely, if he did save that lap, he definitely does have an advantage. He's able to go, run that banking and go pretty much... not exactly completely wide open, but more open than a lot of these, 18, 20, and 42 cars. So, I can't say for certain he's going to catch up to the 22, but if the 22 starts riding that bottom line and the 6 keeps, just holding that high banking, he definitely could get that stage win here. Which, while he's not in dire need of a stage win, being, 20 points above the cut line, it'll definitely be pretty nice to have, just to further secure your position.
Yeah, it's always, you can never get enough, but especially for Dillon, right, getting these stage points is almost as important, but a little less important than getting that playoff point, right? That playoff point's what's going to help him down the stretch. So that's kind of, I think for him, that's his big advantage, right? Is he if he can get that playoff point, that carries over from round to round, and that'll matter for him. I would argue almost more than just the stage point, because he's in a pretty good spot right now. So all he's doing is helping himself down the line. I think Brody saved it. I mean, he is absolutely flying on the outside right now.
Definitely. It looks like the 18 and 20 are still hanging back just a little bit, looking like they're still trying to save that lap that the 6 and 42 and 22 have.
Well, remember the 18 and the 20 pit. Oh, 20's pitting now.
It seems the 20...
And remember, they came down a lap earlier, right, than everybody else. So they have to save another lap on top of the lap that everyone else has already saved. So they really did hurt themselves by coming down when they did.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna...
Looks like he's coming for the lead here.
It's definitely gonna hurt, and it looks like the 22's running that bottom line now, looking like he's trying to save just a little bit so he can make sure he can get to the end.
So the 18 is now on pit road. So Trout was able to save a whole lot more than Resistance.
Yep. They might just be taking that fuel and possibly even right side tires, depending on how they look. But I'm not too sure. They might just do fuel only so they could get out as fast as they possibly can.
Well, the 20 is still on pit road, so I definitely think it's a 4-tire stop.
Huh.
Maybe 2. Let's see where the leaders are.
Currently, Dylan in the lead. Just passed the line and just got out, and the 22 got put into the wall by the 42 just there. That's definitely painful for the 22.
So you see the 20 is now coming out in front of the leaders. So I can't really tell what his pit stop would have been. The 18 definitely took 2.
I'm not sure. He possibly could have sped coming onto pit road and gotten that penalty. So
I think we've got issues all over. The 22, I think, is out of fuel.
It looks like the 21 is out of fuel.
I think the stage is over, actually.
Ah.
I think, yeah, that was the end of the stage.
Stage is over, and I believe O'Dillon got that playoff point, won the stage pretty easily, especially after having pitted much later than everybody else.
Wow, let's see if I can find this. So it looks like stage 1 results was O'Dillon in first. Man, this is a huge change of events for those Gibbs cars. We'll talk about that in a second. So it was O'Dillon 1, Brody 2, Fire Slayer in the 3-car 3rd, Drunk 4th, Riley 5th, Joker 6th, Wang 7, Heredia 8, Captain Jack 9, Mike G 10. So, remember when we were talking about what would happen if the 18 and the 20 won the stage, right, and finished 1-2? Well, they didn't get any playoffs. They didn't get a single stage point.
They definitely didn't get anything.
The only car below the cutoff line that got a point was the 41. So this is going to put him now into the good, and all three. So right now it would be Tiger, Nobes, and Resistance, or Tiger, Nobes, and Trout that would be out. And Trout is a lap down.
It's got to be really tough for the JGR cars, having pit not much earlier, but a lap earlier than everybody else. Definitely hurt them a good bit.
So this lap will be a straight up one stop, assuming no cautions.
Hopefully there will be no cautions. It's definitely nice to watch a nice green flag run every now and then. But yeah,
well, you saw how much it means for the strategy, right? I mean, that was a huge change of events for everybody involved.
Definitely there. I mean, had that caution came out once Nobes had gotten into the 41 and both of them had spun around, had that caution came out for Trout and Resistance, it would have been pretty good for them. They would have been nice. They would have, I think, been one lap down, but just got their lap back immediately after, since they just came out of the pits.
Yeah, so Trout is a lap down. Resistance took 4, so he took the wave around because he came down with 2 laps to go, so he's operating on a little older tires than everybody else.
There we go. That's why he got that penalty. He came down with 2 to go. That's going to be, I believe, another penalty as well. I think it's 5-point penalty for pitting with...
Well, I think they both got down. I think the 20 pit with 4 to go, because remember, he was the leader. Well,
Yeah.
he wasn't the leader, but he was about in first. So I think he pit with 4, and I think Trout pit with 3. It might have been 3 and 2. And Trout was right with the leader, so I think if that was 2, he was fine. Which I think it was. So
Well, it'll be kind of close, and it'll be interesting
the
to see
3 car
what
got
happens.
into the wall. I think Ubi tried to cross him, tried to hit him with a slide job. And so now the 41 and the 88 are in a bad spot. They're on the bottom. The 41 trying to clear this 48 desperately. Are you going to go for it? He's gonna...
Good on the 41 just sliding up
Oh.
in front of the 48, but it looks like the 48's going to do that same thing back to him coming into 3 and 4.
Yeah, this is a dangerous game because look at the 6. He's just driving away. They need to kind of sort it out. I know you want to be that first car. Oh, this is gonna really stack everybody up.
Oh yeah, the 6. He's
41
definitely
stuck on the bottom again.
the 6 is just watching his rearview mirror and probably just sitting there, you know, laughing to himself.
Well, when I won stage 1, this is exactly what happened. So when I won stage 1 in the Xfinity race, there was a couple of guys got into the wall. I ended up taking the lead, but into the first corner when I was the leader, you know, one guy tried to pull a move on another guy, and then I was 5/10 up. You know, by the time I got to the white, by the time I got back to the start-finish line, then the same thing happened again. There was another guy trying to make a move, and before you know it, you're a second and a half up on the field in the span of a lap because guys are losing so much speed around the top.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
this has definitely worked into the 6's favor here. But now these guys have kind of sorted it out, and settled down. So
Seems
now,
like
this is where they all have the advantage because they're running basically, I mean, they're drafting off each other. It's, you know, the equivalent, every time they go down a straightaway, it's the equivalent to, you know, when you're single file, when you're all alone and you got a bunch of cars running you down at Daytona. And so 48's
Definitely.
going to do it again, and oh boy.
And it seems like the pack seems to have split itself into 2 with the 17 rounding out that first pack.
Trying to make this. Oh, they're wrecking in the back. Oh no. 21's around. I believe that's the 20.
The 21, the 14's around as well. The 20 with a good bit of front end damage.
Does not look like a caution has been called. I would imagine it's a manual at the line here. Oh, that's just really unfortunate.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate for Resistance in the 20 after not only not getting the playoff points, the stage points.
Manual caution here. Yeah. I mean, who it's almost most disappointing for is the 6 car. I mean, he's 2 seconds into the lead because, you know, these guys can't figure it out, and that's now gone.
Yeah.
Entirely.
I believe the 20 was the only one a lap down.
Yeah, the 18. So Trout will get his lap back, I imagine.
I'm sure Trout will get his lap back and just come back into pits and get what he needs to do and then line up towards the back.
Alright, so we're going to take a quick caution here, and then I assume everybody would pit. There's no real reason to stay out.
Yeah, I'm sure we're getting close to that, like, midway point in the stage where pits would happen anyway, are we?
I think we are. This is still going to set up... This is going to kind of set it up interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see what the deal is. Let me see on Nobes' stream here. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to have about 25 to go when we restart. You get about 19 laps of fuel. So unless someone pulls an extreme save job,
I mean,
I'm pretty sure we're still in a spot where everyone's going to need to pit once for 2 tires.
it's definitely possible, but the question is, would you even want to do something that risky?
I'll tell you what, saving fuel here is hard at a track because when guys aren't saving and they're running in a pack, right, the amount of time that you're losing is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I know when we tried to save 2 laps, as you see the 18's getting his lap back here, we had to save 2 laps in the Xfinity race. We went a lap down to save 2 laps of fuel in the middle of that stage. Like, that's how much time we lost in the span of, about 20 laps. We went an entire lap down, then everyone pit, and we came back, right? So to save 5 laps here, I don't think there's really any way anyone can do that unless you have a clutch, in which case it might be possible.
For people that don't have a clutch, I mean, you may as well just go all out, try and get to that front as fast as you possibly can.
What a move by the 6 car. He took the outside, and so did Riley, so Joker will now move up to the inside of the first row. Drunk,
Joker.
also a big gainer. See, I think Brody might be doing it. If you see him down there on the apron, he might already be trying to save whatever
Definitely.
he can.
I'm sure. Obviously, all these drivers are holding 4th gear, but I'm sure Brody's trying to save just wherever and whenever, whether it's on a caution or not. So.
All right. Well, 6 car will lead us to the line.
But yeah, another driver we didn't talk about a whole lot. I believe it was Joker. Obviously, it was kind of, stated he would do good, but to see him, after that choose cone between the 6 and the 48, seeing him up in now 2nd, definitely a little interesting. It doesn't really throw too big of a wrench into the playoffs, seeing as, Joker is currently the leader. So.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that 10 car got a terrible restart. He went from 3rd to 5th. The entire outside line just kind of flew by him here. But
yeah,
some familiar faces at the front, right? You got the 6 in 1st, the 88 in 2nd, and Riley up in 3rd. So
definitely
it's going to be interesting to see these Hendrick cars work together. They do work together really, really well. Right, so do they maybe work together to try and get that outside and shuffle that 6 car out? That's going to be the question.
I mean, I'm sure between the 88 and the 48, they're definitely going to try and work as hard, not as hard as they possibly can, but at least a little bit to try and push that 6 car out. But then again, you also have the SHR team, the 41 and the 10, just behind them as well. So if Hendrick does, decide, oh, hey, let's get the 6 car out of the lead, and they, take the bottom, you could just have that 41 and 10 just get up in behind the 6, seeing as they're both forward, or all 3 of them are forwards, and just work together and push the 88 and 48 just back out of the picture.
I mean, that's definitely true. It's, it's kind of manufacturer on manufacturer. These top 5 have kind of driven away a little bit from that 2nd pack.
Yeah, I mean, once the packs start to separate, you definitely see, who's in it to really just get that win. I mean, I don't see anyone else outside of this current top 5 winning this race. Unless there's some major, last lap caution.
You can see it. If you look into the weigh distance, Brody's saving. He's going to try and run it. So right now, these guys, oh, here goes the 88. He's going to go for it. Yeah, look at that 6, though. He did a great job. He backed that corner all the way up. He's going to turn underneath him. Yep, there he goes. But this is where Hendrick comes into play, right? The 88's going to get a push from the 48. The 6 can't clear. I'm surprised Dylan wasn't a little more aggressive there to try and get the spot back. And there we go. Like we talked about it, they shuffle him out.
That's tough on Dylan. He doesn't really have anyone else up there with him aside from the 2 Stewart-Haas Fords and then his teammate just behind them, but not close enough to really do much helping. And it seems like he's just going to be forced to stay on the inside.
Yeah,
now
I
as
mean, you're
the
going to see him
yeah.
from first place, and there's a chance that he ends up in what? I mean,
I
third, fourth,
believe he's.
fifth,
It looks like
sixth,
he.
seven, eight. He could be in
Yeah.
ninth by the end of this train, right? I mean, that's just tough.
It seems like his teammate though in the 17 is going to cut him just a little bit of slack and let him into
Yeah,
the high line once again.
and that's the right thing to do, right? The 17th not in the playoffs. You're on a team, you know, the 6 car. Just give him that spot, you know, maybe not at the end of the race, but especially where we are, you know, just kind of riding around in stage 2. As looks like Ubi's on the outside here.
Yeah.
Riley, oh, he kind of let off looking for it.
It seems like we have a little bit of a teamly rivalry. I mean, both of these guys are. Well, no. Only Joker's really secure. I'm surprised he's not letting Ubi, you know, run up front and try and win that stage. And it seems like they
You
just
see, I think the 48. Yeah. I think the 48 sending him a little message here. He's going to go for the crossover. He's not going to get it. This is going to kill him. He's going to drop all the way back on this. We actually have a car pitting the 22 of Mike G. So remember, everyone does have to pit.
Yeah.
So he's going to pit early and maybe try and run a lap or two kind of by himself and gain some time.
Yeah, and with the 88 there, and you know, just holding firmly up in that first position, he definitely just kind of hung the 48 out to dry there. Especially with the 48 being, you know, so low in the playoff picture. I mean, he's barely above the cut line right now.
It is surprising when you think of how good Riley's run to think, you know, I mean, to think that he's only, I think, 12 points up, right? Coming into this race, he's 12 points up on the cut line. So it's not exactly like he's sitting there, you know, pretty.
Yeah, I mean...
41, he's going to get hung out on the bottom now.
Hopefully, and he just got in contact with that 6 there and gave him a nice little door bump, so... I doubt the 6 will be looking to let in the 41 anytime soon. He's just going to get shuffled back to 5th. So, I mean... So much for team alliances.
Oh, the 10 might be pitting. I don't know if that's a pitting or if he's just going to make it. Yeah, he's pitting, I think. You can tell by the way he entered that corner. I don't know if he just got... Oh, maybe he just got loose.
Yeah, I mean, once your tires start to wear down, coming off that turn 2, it can definitely catch you off guard. So
yeah, I mean, the way he shot down there, I thought for sure he was trying to signal. But, looks like the 10 and the 41 are just, yeah, the 10's loose. You can see him off 2. He kind of got to correct it again.
He's definitely just loose. And it looks like all of these drivers, aside from, I believe, well, Brody, and it looks like
Nobe's on pit road here, 14.
So all of this, like, you know, top 10 cars right now are just running the high line and pushing as hard as they can, trying to go for that position. So,
well, I think you're going to see guys try and make up spots on pit road, right? That's what caused that first caution. The 22 gets really aggressive. Okay, I think the 10's pitting this time.
Yeah,
let's see.
It definitely seems like he is coming in.
Yes, he is.
So we might see our leaders come in within, you know, 1 or 2 laps.
It's going to be interesting. Now you do... Oh, the 88's in the wall. This is really... Okay, so this is really going to hurt this front group of cars because your biggest advantage... oh, it does not look like anyone else is pitting. Your biggest advantage when you are in a group and someone tries to undercut you with an early pit stop is that you can run faster laps as the group compared to that car running by himself. But if you start hitting the wall and you start making contact and you lose that time... You take that advantage away, and then the undercut works. Right? So that's kind of what we're seeing now. That was not great for the 88 and those other 3 guys for him to get into the wall and kind of slow everyone down like that.
Hopefully those 4 can just stay out of the wall and keep running these nice laps.
They are. That's exactly what their plan is. You can see them. They're staying out. The 20 and the 17, I believe, are both pitting.
It does look like they are.
And so this is a concerted effort. If I was going to pit, I'd want to pit with somebody. Brody's trying to save it. I mean, he's coming out of turn 4 right now. So he's definitely, I think, the favorite to win the stage. The 6 car's going to pit. So the 88.
We might have a surprise driver or a surprise stage winner in the 42. I mean, looking back to the Xfinity race at Charlotte, Matt Black, his Xfinity Series teammate.
Almost spun.
Matt Black, his Xfinity Series teammate,
sideways.
Did about the same thing.
The 20 car is gonna. Oh, I think the 20 car might have. I want to say he sped, but I think he just did a different pit stop than everybody else.
I'm not certain.
Looks like the 48's gonna pit the. I don't think the 41 is. No, Drunk's gonna stay out. It's gonna be really interesting to see where these guys come off.
Definitely, it'll definitely.
Oh, I think the 6 car sped.
Yeah,
he's way behind that 88. I don't know if maybe there was tires versus no tires.
I mean, the 6
I think the 88 took no tires. Maybe just a gas and go.
I mean, we've got to be cutting close to, what, probably 5, 6 to go, maybe?
Yeah, well, let's see where we're at. So Drunk is on pit road here with the 3 car. I think the 22 is out of this race.
I believe so. He's been on pits for a while now.
So let's see who takes the lead here. Still waiting, not sure who the leader is. Scoring the 41. So the 88 is now the leader. So the 88 and the 48 are fighting for the stage win right here.
Alright, I mean, if I were the 88, being that he's, you know, currently the points leader, I'd let 48 just get on by. Let him get that stage win and that playoff point.
It is interesting, right? But at the same time, I mean, you guys are all out here trying to win this race, right? The 88 knows that, I mean, sure, he's up and you can look at it that way, but he doesn't want to give this 48 a chance. I mean, let's not forget, Riley won the race at Chicagoland last year. I mean, the 88 might be looking at this 48 as his biggest threat at Chicagoland, so maybe that's extra incentive for him to keep him behind. You know, maybe, you know, behind in the back of the 88's mind is how do I make that Chicagoland race as easy as I can? You know, if you take out the guy that was clearly the fastest car at Chicagoland last year, you know, maybe that has an impact, and maybe that'll help the 88's chances.
It seems like it's definitely just gonna come down to, do I want to be that good teammate? Because the 48 is his team owner. Like, do I want to be that good driver and, you know, let him on by and get that, you know, those few extra points to help him, or do I want that easy final playoff race at Chicagoland?
They're coming to 3 to go here. I'll tell you who's really in a good spot. That 41 car is of Drunk is in a spot to again get big stage points, which is going to help him out. Now he's not going to gain any points on Riley, which he would have the first time, which he did in stage 1, but you know, to only lose 1 point on him, we got 2 to go here. And maybe this 48 tries something. I mean, maybe the 48 tries something and they end up wrecking and he wins the stage. I mean, you never know.
I mean, it really doesn't look like the 48's trying that hard to get by the 88. He might just be banking on the fact of like, oh, hey, I'm your owner. Just give me the position. Let me get this
Oh, the
stage win.
idiot! Oh, he got him! He forced him into the mistake!
Damn.
He just rode. The 88 knew he was going to try something. This is huge, though, for Joker. Is he going to be able... I think he's got too much space on the 41.
Yeah, it seems like
But
Joker's
wow.
just going to easily coast to second now.
How about that? Riley's going to win this stage. I wouldn't say that was on purpose. I mean, he did get into the wall pretty good.
I'm sure between the two of them, there's definitely no real beef whatsoever. It was more, oh hey, I was just racing you hard. Oops.
Well, this is actually the final lap, so that was not the final lap. I thought that was the final lap. This is the final lap here.
That doesn't look like much is gonna really change that much. It's still gonna be
a huge swarm of cars though racing for 5th. It looks like Heredia's gonna go. Oh, he's in the wall, and Brody's gonna pull out 5th place. Resistance 6th.
Brody's just gonna.
And Nobes is 12th. So this again is really gonna hurt that 14 car who's gotten no stage points.
Yeah. And
wow.
You know, Resistance has definitely just slowly made his way back up from when he had to pit late in the first stage. I can't really say the same thing for the 18, but Resistance definitely, if he keeps this up, and this upward trend of moving forward, he could possibly get that win and just coast until the round of 8.
Yeah, he definitely could. I mean, again, this is only the first race. There are 2 races after this, and that's all going to matter. But the 20's putting himself in a good spot. I mean, obviously to lose out on those stage 1 points is going to hurt.
Definitely.
But you know, you okay that you didn't get points in stage 1. Sure, that sucks. But how do you make the best out of that? You know, from here on, you know that happens. But if you can get points in stage 2, you minimize that damage. And so we've seen Nobes, who was in a great position to get stage points in stage 1, and you know, unfortunately, you know, had contact and got wrecked, but he, you know, didn't really rebound in stage 2, so that hurts him. He's gotten 0 playoff points now twice, and a lot of guys, you know, in that cut line, around that cut line, have gotten big stage points.
Yeah, I mean, again, it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens to the playoff picture after this race between a lot of those under the cut line drivers either really hitting and getting those stage points or just really missing and getting absolutely nothing. So, do we have any idea on how many laps there are on the final stage?
It looks like a 2-stop race from what I can see. Looks like a 4-tire stop and a 2-tire stop. I don't know. You might. No, you definitely can't save it.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty straightforward.
I mean, yeah, so long as there's no cautions, it can very well just race all the way to the end, and the lineup might not change a whole lot aside from on pit road. So.
You know, we talked about Resistance's upward climb. There he is, 5th place.
Yeah,
running very well. This is exactly what he needed to do. Right? This is...
Definitely, this is...
Put himself, get as many points as he can. Now he's in the wall. He's going to drop back to 6th. But, you know, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, between 5th and 6th, there's not too much different. It's just 1 point overall, but that will hurt if you keep on, you know, tapping that wall. Oh, hey, I lost a position. There's 2 more points. I tapped the wall, lost another position. There's 3 points. It's definitely going to add up over time.
It will. He did a great job to recover, though. He actually stayed in 5th place.
Yeah,
and you can just see it. I mean, look at this cluster of cars at the front, right? It is very much... You make one mistake, and you're trained out, and you're not going to lose 1 or 2 spots. You're going to lose 7 or 8 spots if you're one of those top, you know, 4 or 5 cars.
Definitely, you're going to lose a lot of spots. Like if you have someone like Yubi getting to that wall and the 88 not cutting him slack like he was towards the end of stage 2, I mean, you could see Yubi drop all the way back to like 10th at worst. So definitely not making mistakes here is
Oh, see,
key.
it's going to happen right here. The 41. Oh, he's going to get back up. Almost had the 17 get on his quarter panel. I mean, this is definitely going to get interesting.
I believe Heredia for a moment was having issues with lag, and he did drop to the back. I'm not sure where he is.
Currently
though. Looks like he's
8th.
8th, so that was about 4 or 5 minutes ago. So definitely the driver that I'd called out to definitely win this thing pretty easily. He's not having too hot of a day. He's just kind of lingering towards the back of the top 10.
Yeah, it's not been a good day for him. I mean, to be honest, it's other than drunk, it's been a pretty lackluster day for SHR. I would say, unfortunately, we haven't seen that 10 up front as we expected. The 14 car really hasn't recovered from that stage 1 accident when he was running top 5. So, hopefully stage 3 works out, but definitely some cars that we expected to see at the front. Brody in that 42, he hasn't been great. He's definitely trying to do something on strategy because he's already half a lap behind everybody else.
Brody somehow might be trying to turn this into just a singular stop, which that'll amaze me if he manages to pull it off.
I mean, you'd have to save about 4 or 5 laps per run.
It might be doable.
We saw him, remember, in stage 2, he tried to do the same thing. It was a similar situation. We had to save about 5 or 6 laps, and we saw him kind of end up with the top 5 from that stage, right? And that was when everyone had to pit one more time than he did. So maybe, he's kind of looking at that as maybe there's a chance that he can do it again, or maybe it works out. We talked about this at the start. I'm afraid that he's just losing too much time with the guy just kind of riding around single file.
Yeah.
Oh, the 20.
20 got a nice tap on his
It
door.
looked like the 6 got loose off the corner, was what it looked like.
20
and,
dropped
man,
all the way back.
Great save by Resistance. If he would have spun out, that really would have hurt him.
Dropped all the way back to 8th, just behind his teammate Trout in the 18, who not as greatly as Resistance has managed to just kind of linger around a little bit and get a position here and there. So
that's all he needs to do at this point, though.
Yeah, and I do have a couple of sources saying this is, or I believe Resistance next year is going to be moving down to XFINITY. So well, definitely interesting to see how he performs, because he's been doing pretty solid in the Cup Series.
He will certainly be a factor in the Xfinity Series if he moves down there. But you're just kind of seeing right now, I mean, this is just a stage in the race where you're just trying to not take yourself out of it, right? You're just trying to put yourself in the best position you can put yourself in.
Definitely. I mean,
for when you pit, right? When you pit's gonna matter, and then after that second stop, everyone's gonna kind of start going for broke. But right now, it's just how high can I get myself, and don't take myself out of it. If I lose this lead pack, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble.
If you can set yourself up good for the pits, and then flashing back to Heredia making up a whole lot of time, just going into the pits, making up loads of spots. I mean, if you can pull off what Heredia was doing back at Charlotte and just make up all those spots going into the pits, and then hoping and praying that your pit crew gets the job done and gets you out pretty quickly, I mean, that can be huge. You'd
Yeah,
have a driver. Go on.
Speaking of Heredia, don't look now. He's kind of made his way up. He was kind of riding around in 8th place. He's in the top 5 now. He's moved up to 5th behind O'Dillon. He's kind of, you know, quietly been making his way up front. And the 3 cars that are currently, well, other than Tiger, the 3 cars that would be on the outside looking in are actually all running together right now. Oh, Brody stopped in the infield. I don't know. Oh, this is huge. That's big. If he
possibly just run it.
There might have been some sort of issue. He might have something going on where he might have had to leave for a minute. I mean, I don't know what.
We have the 17 and 18 coming down to pits now, so.
Yeah.
Along with the 9, the 38, the 21, and it looks like that's it.
If he's out, that's a lot of points that he's going to lose. That's not going to put him in a great spot coming into next week.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's still moving just a little bit.
Looks like everyone's pitting here except the 88. Look at the 10. He made up an entire position. Oh, the 6. The 6 got on the pit road really hot. He might have sped.
Yeah, I mean, the 6 hasn't exactly been super hot going into the pits. We believe he did get that penalty coming towards the end of stage 2. So,
you know, let's see what happens here. We'll keep an eye on the 10 car and see how he gets out versus the 6. I think the 9 got a speeding penalty too. Joker's on the pit road alongside Nobes and Fire Slayer. Like
maybe just a slight difference in pit strategy, but it seems like the 6 did not get a penalty. So.
No, they're all out. 1, 2, 3, 4. The way they came in. So remember the 17 with the first car to pit. If you watch him right now, he is going to cycle possibly to the lead. Yep, he is.
Yeah.
How about that, Jason Cole?
Definitely a bit of surprise. I mean, he was hanging towards about the middle of that pack of 8, 9, 10 cars. So, I mean, just leading that lap there doesn't really mean too much. It's still nice for Roush Fenway. And
this is, remember, his last season. He unfortunately will not be returning to the Hennessy Performance League next year. But, I
mean, if you can go out with a bang and lead people with their jaws dropped,
why
it's always
not
nice.
Win a race?
Yeah. I mean, if his teammate O'Dillon can get back up to him, I don't see Jason giving much trouble to Dillon letting him by, but so that'll definitely be interesting to see what happens later in the race if Jason is still leading toward the end.
Yeah, I mean, if we go look at this race, right, if we're looking at, so Tiger is did not make the race. He will automatically be in last place in terms of the playoff guys. The 48 here is looking for the lead. He's going to go for it. This, though, I think the 17 is going to cross him. Oh, no, he's not. Oh, the 10.
10 thought about it for a moment, tried to get back up, and it looks like he's just going to get passed easily by the 6.
I think what we saw him do there was realize it wasn't going to work, and there was a hole between the 41 and the 6, and he was just trying to get there.
Yeah, it seems like just a bit of error coming from Heredia. I mean, he's not going to get hurt too much by it. He's still going to come out, you know, 4th.
And so, like I was saying before, Tiger's going to be down there. Nobes has not had a great race, but what really happens now, Brody and Captain Jack were both 15 points up. right?
Yeah.
Captain Jack is currently the last car actually running right now after a speeding penalty. He's going to lose 10 or 12 points on this, and he hasn't gotten a lot of stage points either. Brody's in the same spot. He's not even running right now. He's going to lose 10 points, and he hasn't exactly gotten a ton of stage points himself. So you're in a spot here where we might have 3 cars that were to the good coming into this race that will suddenly be below the cut line coming out of this race.
Definitely. I'm sure we'll see a lot of those people that, you know, coming into this race seemed like they were good, and it looks like the 17 got into the wall for a moment.
Yeah, I think the 6 kind of ran him up a little bit, trying to make a move. It's unfortunate for those guys.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens for those drivers that they thought they were in the good, but just for some reason couldn't perform today. Drivers such as Captain Jack that you brought up, and not really too much Brody, because he's been doing decent. He's gotten that top 5 in stage 2 and wherever he finished stage 1. So I believe he's still going to be, you know, sitting not too high and mighty as, you know, people like Joker and Heredia, but definitely up there. It does look like Brody's coming into the pits now. So
yeah, might have just come back, but I would not. I mean, either way, he's at least 15 laps down. I don't think there's really any hope for him really even to continue this.
I mean, I'm sure Brody's kind of kicking himself just a little bit, like, you know, he had that little bit of room to try and test something out, see what would work, but he might be kicking himself slightly. So
yeah, he's gonna keep racing, which is good on him. If someone else were to disconnect in the next few laps, if there were to be a problem, again, that's just every point matters.
Definitely, especially just in the first playoff race, every point matters. Where you can get points, get them. So yeah.
So we've got 24 laps to go here. So everyone has to pit 1 time for 2 tires.
Definitely, it's just a matter of when will they come into pit. You might see a couple different people. Oh, hey, I'm gonna try and split the stage. Maybe bring a couple of other drivers with me, and just try and go from there. And you'll definitely have a couple people, or if not the rest of the drivers out there, just say, okay, as late as possible, push as hard as you can, get those tires or fuel and go.
What we saw happen, remember when the 17 pit about 3 laps earlier than everybody else, he gained about 6 spots and went to the lead. So the question is, you know, do you kind of risk that? But we also saw him then proceed to fall off a lot. Right? Like, he's all the way. He's not even with that second group anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, it really is risk versus reward. How long do you stay out? Do you maybe try and take the lead and just try and hang on for those last couple laps? But what's really going to matter is if you kind of look at right now, Heredia is kind of bridging the gap between the top 3 and the next 4 cars. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
so these guys want to get back to the leaders to give themselves a chance.
For someone like the 17, definitely pitting early seemed to have worked a while ago in that first set of pit stops. So it took the 48 a good while to run that 17 back down. I think probably about 4 or 5, maybe 6 laps it took him to get back to the lead. But, you know, that might be all the laps it takes. So if the 17 can undercut the leaders again and pull back up to the front, he definitely has a chance to win this race.
Yeah, it looks like the 18's gonna pit here, so he's kind of the first taker on the early pit. Just kind of looking around. I mean, the 88's gotten around the 6, so now he is in second place.
Yeah.
But when he did that, he allowed the next group of cars to catch them. So now it is the 88 and the 48, and then 3 Fords and a Toyota, all behind them. And so getting on the pit road here is what's really going to matter. If everyone does it on the same lap, it's, you know, gain the spots.
Definitely.
And,
I mean, you might have maybe the 3 Fords pit, or at least try to pit 1 lap earlier than the leaders, because I'm sure they're all going to try and stick in the group.
the 41 looks like he's the only car pitting this time, so it looks like he's going to be kind of the one in the lead group to try something. He's going to need a good entry, which I don't think he got a great entry, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see coming out of pit road how he falls back in. Hopefully he's able to pull off that pit stop before the leaders can come back around. I mean,
these guys to go a couple of laps. Oh, I don't know. Is everybody? Oh, a little bit of contact between the 48 and the 88 there. That could have turned into a disaster for those guys. And they're
like
all pitting. The
yep.
88's gonna get hot. I think
the 6 is
down,
just.
Though.
The 6 continues to have just issues entering into pit road.
That's going to pretty much take him out of the race. So Nobes is now the leader.
The 6, like I said earlier, hasn't had very much luck when it comes to pits. So
no, has not been his forte on the season. So let's see where these guys come out. I mean, pretty obviously it should be the 88, 48, 10, 20. Oh, the 48! Great stop by the 48 crew. He's the leader.
Seeing as it is the last stop, who would be your pick to win now? I mean, earlier you said Yubi would definitely be your pick to win. I mean, he's got the lead right now. Well, he should have the lead momentarily.
Go against him? Here you go. I mean, it's just tough, right? I mean, the 10 and the you know.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
And they've got a long way to go here.
Yeah,
I mean, we still have 14 laps to go. It's not like this thing's entirely over.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see a late race caution just pop back up. And you have the 2 JGR cars back together once again in 5th and 6th, looks like. So, one late race caution, they could easily push each other, you know, get back up to the lead where they were at the start of the race. But
the 10's going to hound the 88, and you're going to see the 14 car come out now. So 14 laps to go.
Yeah, definitely the 48 right now, just in this current situation, definitely the favorite to win. But between that 10 and 88, they might end up getting or pushing up to the 48 and maybe even trying to go for the lead. And especially with the 88 not cutting the 48 very much slack when it comes to leading, I doubt the 88's gonna just let the 48 hold that lead easily.
No, I'll tell you what, the position I wouldn't want to be in would be second place. I wouldn't want to be in the position where I have to make a move, because you can do it, but the problem is when if he tries to make a slide job and he doesn't do this perfectly, he's gonna kill himself and the 48. And if the 10 car runs it right, Heredia might find himself in the position to win the race where he can have the most speed coming off the corner, and he can make something happen. Like, being in second place is very tough at this point in the track. If you're in first, right, you're just holding the outside. Don't let that guy get a run on you, and don't let that guy get outside of you. But if you're in second, you're the one that's got to make something happen. But if you don't pull it off right, you're gonna, that usually comes at the expense of you and the car that you're gonna put the move on, which gives the advantage to the third place car.
Definitely. I mean, when, it's not a matter of if Joker does it, but when Joker does try and make that move, if he does mess up, Heredia definitely could be looking at a pretty easy win if these two teammates battle.
Yeah, I mean, definitely he could, and man, what a move it would be if he pulled it off, and he certainly won't be afraid to. But this 10 car is hanging on, and it's just these three guys. I mean, the 20 car is in 4th place, and that's a great run for him, but he's not really in a position to capitalize on anything that's going to happen here. I will say, we talked about how the 14 hadn't really recovered. He's now in 5th, so he's in 6th behind the 41, who's in 5th. So, I mean, these three guys right here in the second pack, not racing for the win, but great points for them today. And you actually got to move for 5th. The 14 is going to go underneath the 41. He's not going to get it here.
And it looks like Joker has now caught up to the 48, and he's just right on his bumper. He's not... It doesn't look like Joker's trying to make any moves just yet. He might just be hoping for, a late last lap pass, possibly last corner, too.
Well, he's still got 8 laps to go. And remember what happened at the end of stage 2. Riley didn't go make some elaborate move. He just kind of rode there, and the pressure got to the 88 and put him into the wall, right? So maybe the 88 kind of had that same mentality of, let me just force him to run a perfect lap every time, and maybe he makes the mistake, and I can take advantage of it. But the 10 car's right there. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, how those guys kind of sort it out between the three of them up here.
It'll definitely be interesting to watch as we continue on, coming down to, I believe that is 6 or 5 to go now. So
I think it is 6 laps to go. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm sure the 88's definitely looking to, pass pretty late. Maybe there are 2 to go, possibly 1 to go, just so he doesn't have to worry too much about the threat of, oh, hey, the 48's right behind me, and he's just putting tons of pressure on me. So, but again, I also wouldn't be surprised if the 88 just for some reason has a change of heart and just decides to let that 48, coast to victory and just keep fending off that 10. So.
Yeah, well, they got 5 laps to sort it out here.
Yeah, I mean, just watching these three, you gotta sit and wonder who's gonna make the first move.
This is gonna give the 10 a big run. If he can get to the outside here, this is really... Oh, you saw the 88 get really high off that corner, not to let that 10 get above him.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to sit here and wait and hope. Ooh,
he's looking for... Oh, there's a little bit of contact. He's looking for it now, though. He's letting them know that he's gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean,
they're coming to 3 to go.
If the 88 can pull off a move like that,
crazy exciting.
Yeah, I mean, if the 88 can pull off a move like that, and hopefully not put not only the 48 but himself in a terrible position as well, he could definitely easily just walk away with that win. But he's also under pressure of the 10. The 88 knows he needs to make his pass on the 48, damn near perfect.
Oh, he thought about it. And the question is, that 38 car, I don't think he's going to come into play with 2 to go here.
Yeah, I mean, the 38 car, he's definitely a little bit ahead. I do not believe he will come into play, though.
Oh, here comes he. Oh, he got it. The 88's on the outside. The
Yeah, the
48's got to make
88
a move.
looks like the
Really
48's just
aggressive
going to
into that
slip back up,
corner.
but the 88's going to go underneath, and the 10's just going to follow the 88.
Oh. The 10, so what Heredia, I think, is trying to do here, he's trying to get the 88 to make the move, right? He wants the 88 to go make it so he can capitalize on both guys, and this is the final lap. This is it.
Definitely, I'm sure the 88's going to definitely make some last lap attempt to try and pass.
Oh, boy, he's right on his bumper. He's
Got
gonna
low.
look. A little bit of contact. The 10's gonna come in and push him.
Ooh,
Here he
the 88's
goes.
getting awfully squirrely. 10 up into the wall now, sadly.
Oh, the 48 goes down. He blocks it. He saw it coming. The 88's in the wall. Oh, no. And Heredia's going to come out. You guys are going to take the spot. Second place.
Already able to sneak out second. Congrats to Yubi for getting that win there. Holding off Joker in that last lap attempt.
What a race. Well, let's get the 48 in here. Let's see if we can get an interview. Not always the most talkative, but we will certainly see how he's doing. Wow.
Do we have any idea as to what the finishing was? Or the finishing order?
It looked like 48-1, 10-2, the 88 third, Resistance in 20 and 4th, Drunkfest 5, and Nobe 6. But we are joined by our winner. It is Riley in the 48. My pick to win the race. Riley, wow, what a finish. How does it feel to be locked into the round of 8?
It's great. It's taken way too long to get back in the victory lane. I mean,
I'm sure. Yeah, definitely nice to see you in victory lane once again. And on that well, actually no, just during the entire race, especially, you know, towards the end of stage 2 and the race overall, that 88 wasn't cutting you a whole lot of slack when it came to just being up front overall.
yeah, a little bit, but he definitely cut me some slack, and that at the end there he could have easily put me in the wall, but he laid off on me a little bit.
Definitely good on him. Well, talk to us quickly about that final lap. So we saw the 88 kind of look inside you for 1 and 2. In your head, to go down to the bottom to block him in 3 and 4, what were you thinking there?
I mean, I knew he was gonna dive bomb that, so I had to at least. I know he was kind of distance behind me, but if he would have actually, well, if I would have took the high line, he probably would have got to me and would have been able to put me in the wall.
Alright, man. Well, congratulations on being locked into the round of 8, and congratulations on finally getting back to victory lane. It's been a lot of second place finishers for you down the stretch, and people forget you were only 12 points to the good, so definitely a huge win for you to get playoff points and lock yourself into the next round and help yourself in the next round too, and hopefully you can carry this momentum into the rest of the season as we finish off.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yep. Good luck coming up towards Iowa on Monday next week. So, yeah.
Thank you. This should be that's a good track for me, so maybe go back to back. We'll see.
Yeah, well, it would definitely be nice to see Hendrick have back-to-back, or you at least have back-to-back wins. It'd definitely help you a lot coming up towards the round of 8.
Yeah, round 8's gonna be crazy. I can already tell.
Yeah. But Mayhem, do you have any more questions for our race winner?
No, I think great run. Let's see if we can actually get someone who didn't win this race in here. See if we can maybe get one more opinion. on today if he joins. But Ubi, or Riley, thank you very much for joining us, and once again, congratulations on your win.
Good, thank you.
I'm gonna see if we can get Resistance in here. He had a great day. This is definitely the type of day he needed. See if we can get his thoughts on maybe what happened in stage 1 and how he was able to work his way back up. But I am not sure if he will make it in.
Hopefully we can get Resistance in here. Anyway, Mayhem, what are your thoughts on, the first race in the round of 11?
I thought it was awesome that it stayed green the whole time. I know there was one small caution, and unfortunately stage 1 wasn't exactly seamless in terms of how everything went down, but nonetheless, I thought it was really good. I'll be back in a second. I got to check something.
All right. Yeah, we're still trying to see here if we can get Resistance and his 4th place finish up into the booth and see if we can get him to talk a little bit. So hopefully we'll be joined by him here shortly. See if we can get a little bit of insight on what was going on between him and the 18 the entire race. So yes, definitely. This race is definitely going to shake off the playoff picture just a lot. It's definitely going to feel, painful for Tiger and the one who didn't really do a whole lot of racing today. And I believe, yes, I am now joined by Resistance, the driver of the 20 car, managing to sneak out with a 4th place finish. What was your thoughts on the race today? I mean,
that was fun at the end there. I thought the front 3 were going to get into each other and wreck. Hopefully I was going to have a shot, but yeah, the first stage of the race was really, really bad for me. Really messed up strategy, and I think I actually finished last in that stage. I had to pit again, so stage 2 I got stage points luckily, and then 3rd stage was definitely the best stage, and was able to salvage a top 5 out of a pretty miserable day, but it was fun racing.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end of stage 1, like you just said, I mean, it looked like between you and the 18, you were going to be, 1-2 finish for that stage win. But after watching you guys pit and drop down with, I believe the 18 had dropped a lap down, or it might have been you, I can't really remember. We didn't expect you guys to climb up all that much. You definitely were surprised to come walk out of that with a top 5 today. So, I mean, just congrats on that one, honestly.
Thank you.
Of course, this definitely is going to do a lot for the playoff standing. I'm not sure exactly where you'd be. I mean, you were one of those drivers that was just below the cut line, only by 3 points, and with, Tiger not racing today and Nobes not doing all too hot, and same with Captain Jack, I mean, you're definitely going to be looking not too solid going into Iowa, but definitely above the cut line and in the green for the next race. So for Iowa next week, what's the plan? Are you going to try and push hard for that win, or are you just going to, hang back, coast around, and use up that little barrier you have between you and the cutoff?
Iowa, I actually enjoy. It's probably one of my favorite tracks to go to, so, I'm going to try to go for the win there, but also try to be a little bit conservative and don't wreck it, don't make any mistakes. Obviously, points are going to matter. So I don't know what the points look like now, but I'm certain they're probably close. The 48 won his way in, so it's gonna look pretty crazy going next week. But I'm gonna go for the win. I'll always go for the win.
Definitely, that's always a good idea. If you can get that win and lock yourself into that next round, it's always nice. But I mean, do you have anything else to say about today's race?
No, I mean, congrats to the 48. That was a hell of a drive there at the end. He was really fast.
Definitely, and sadly I didn't show it, but
I heard.
yeah, they're not going to let me live that one down. But yeah, definitely congrats to the 48 there, even predicting the move that the 88 was going to make on that final turn. So I believe that is all the time we're going to have, and I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast. Thank you everyone who decided to drop in and watch the race tonight. We hope to see you, I believe, Wednesday at 8:45 p.m. for the truck race, the first race of the round of 9. Yep. Congrats again to Yubi for walking away with that win. And congrats to Heredia managing to sneak out a second. Thank you again for joining us. We will see you again on Wednesday.